Hi, I'm Anissa.
Hi, I'm Mona.
And I'm Nushi Rose. So welcome back to episode 72 of Ethnically Speaking, the show where we discuss issues affecting the UK's highly melanated communities, from pop culture to current affairs and everything in between. So today we're talking about the rise of crypto. Now, for those of you that might not know, crypto is a decentralized digital currency that people use as an alternative to the money issued by governments. And so back in 2008, Bitcoin was the original cryptocurrency. And since then, the whole industry, if you can call it an industry, has exploded. So you might have heard of Ethereum, or if you've been paying attention to Twitter in the last 2 weeks, Dogecoin, or potentially Dogecoin. And so this type of crypto has exploded, and it's now valued at 20,000% more than it was just 12 months ago. So as a result, a lot of people have made tons of money, becoming millionaires just over this short period of time. And it's given hope to many more, hoping to follow in their footsteps and get rich quick. So I want to know, have either of you invested in crypto, or would you? Is this the future of finance, or do we think that realistically governments aren't going to be happy and going to be shutting it down soon? And is the risk worth the reward?
Let me just get this off my chest. The tongue-in-cheek that is cryptocurrency, right? It actually gives me grey hairs. I feel like there's so much smoke and mirrors when it comes to cryptocurrency, because a lot of people don't really get it because of the... When I think about cryptocurrency, there's so many labels that is thrown out, I can't even keep up. And when I think about the percentages, I'm like, really? So I wasn't like an A-star student when it came to maths, but hearing things like 200,000%, I'm like, huh? Isn't it out of 100%? When we start throwing in things like this, I'm just like, is this a scam? People start talking about pyramid schemes. I just don't get it. It's not to say that I don't want to get it, because I do, but I don't. Cryptocurrency is something that I feel like you cannot run in head first if you're not clued up about it. And for some reason, there always seems to be one uncle, one auntie, someone's nan who seems to be like the head honcho of cryptocurrency. So you'll get them WhatsApp videos and saying like, cryptocurrency, look at this, overnight millionaire. And you're like, how realistic is this? So me and my friend and I, she invited me to tag along to some Hilton hotel talk. This really nice dressed lady pitched something to her talking about it. I'm sure it was Bitcoin because it was a few years ago now. And I was like, okay, I'll tag along. So we went into the hotel. It was really nice. Anissa, your head shaking.
Because I know what you're going to say. That's why I'm shaking my head. Go ahead. Please.
So we sat down in this nice hotel, right? And she was talking to us all about, it was about 2-hour talk. The algorithm, the notions behind cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, et cetera, et cetera. Now, there was probably about 10 to 15 people here. And I kid you not, this was her opening line. She'd be talking blah, blah, blah. That's Alex. 2 years ago, Alex was living on the street. Now, Alex is worth 20 million. Us. Okay. Someone else walks in. This is Maria. 5 years ago, Maria lived in a bungalow. Now Maria owns 5 houses in Miami because Maria is worth 50 million. And you're like, I'm not saying that these things can't be possible, but you guys are pushing all these stories. Can I hear another narrative? Can I understand how it works? And they tell you the more you invest is the more you make. Okay, I get that. But doesn't it go up and down? I just feel when they're trying to capture people in this, it seems to be smoke and mirrors. I don't get it. Do I think that it is worth researching in? 100%. What is his name? Elon Musk. He was on the SNL show recently, and he said that he's investing in like Dogecoin, and it kind of sent everyone to a frenzy, like, oh my God, if he's going to do it, I'm going to do it too. So it's definitely something that I want to research into. It's just mind-boggling to me. Absolutely mind-boggling.
Okay, 2 things very quickly, guys. It's not Dogecoin, it's pronounced Dogecoin. So you like have been saying Dogecoin, and I've been holding myself like, guys, it's pronounced Dogecoin. So it's been really cracking me up when you said Dogecoin. God have mercy. Honestly, it's cracked me up.
Shows how much cryptocurrency experts we are.
And I'm no expert. I have not invested into crypto. Do I think I'm going to invest into it? I would say not at the moment, and nor do I have any plans in the future. But I won't say never, because never is a strong word. I personally don't feel like I am financially or digitally literate enough to understand completely what is and how I throw my hat into the ring of said thing. Now, the thing is, do I think it's the future? I think it definitely has a part of the future, especially since, you know, this whole digital currency and Bitcoin thing, it's been around for a minute now. So I definitely think it has, it could have a few legs to do a bit of longevity in the future. But I don't think we're going to, like, for example, swap out cash and cards and now completely go to Bitcoin and Dogecoin. I don't believe that, but I definitely think it will definitely have a place in the future. Yes. Do I think governments will start to step in at some point? Absolutely. Just because, you know, it's not particularly controlled by a government body. So the dangers are there that people could use it to do things that they shouldn't. I mean, but the government having control could do the absolute same thing. But the reality is the government usually like to have sanctions of money and the movement of money. So I 100% believe that the government will start to step in at a particular point. And then the whole risk versus rewards thing. Now, I definitely think people should always take risks. I'm not specifically a risk taker myself. I would say I'm impulsive, but I'm not a risk taker. So I would tell anyone, don't invest anything that you do not have to spare. So I will tell you not to take that particular risk. But I guess if you want to get your feet wet, just, you know, maybe start off with a little amount. But I definitely agree with you, Mona, when you were talking about it basically being a Ponzi scheme. It's a little bit like trading. You know how everyone's got into trading and everything's a Forex trader and come to my course about learning how to trade. I think there's some legitimate avenues in how to make money in these things in the investment space of Bitcoin and trading. But I think you have to be literate enough and do your research. Otherwise, you could get caught in the Ponzi scheme side of it. So I think you have to know what you're doing so you do the thing that is more financially viable versus the Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, I also agree. So I wanted to like try Bitcoin, but again, to be honest, until a few hours ago, I wasn't even, you know, they're words I hear all the time. So like, I never went to the Hilton Hotel to hear about these success stories. But at my old work, we used to go to seminars on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And so we'd be learning about blockchain and so on and so on and so on. But like, although I could kind of visualize it in like a really theoretical way, it's still quite hard for me to kind of understand what it means. Like, you know, visualizing these things, which, you know, like these blocks form every 10 minutes and like the nodes do this and this and this and this. And like, you know, it's on the ledger. Like all these words to me, it's taken me a long time to really kind of get to grips with what it means. So about 3 months ago, I was like, okay, I'm going to try and, by the way, when I say invest, I mean, I put £2. So I was like, okay, let me see.
Start off small.
Yes, exactly. I was like, you know, I can afford to lose £2. And so I put like £2 on a couple of cryptos, or I think I put like 50p on one, or whatever the minimum was. Guys, if I had put a large amount of money on these things, I would be rich today. Because I checked this morning and now it's at £11. So my investment, which was just a test, just to like have some fun and check out, like basically test different crypto apps because I wasn't willing to take a risk on something I didn't fully understand, has now gone up 5-fold. So if I had put like £200 in, I mean, I'd have £1,000 today. I'd have made like an £800 return. So in that sense, when it comes to kind of the risk reward thing, what that says to me is like it's to do with the volatility of markets, right? So as we know from the fact that Dogecoin has expanded so much during this period, is that, you know, it's completely unreliable. So if you're saying this is the future of finance, how can you trade everything? Or how can we all exist or just use markets when they can go up and go down, which is the critical piece, so quickly and without any real warning? Because the supply and the demand with crypto, as we've seen in the last 2 weeks, are based on things that are completely unnatural to normal financial systems. So, for example, Elon Musk has completely like skyrocketed the price of Bitcoin itself by making a statement like a while ago about how Tesla had invested X amount into it. That kind of gave it legitimacy and made it seem reliable, no longer as volatile. The prices then went up hugely. A lot of people made a lot of money. But the fact that a celebrity making a statement can have that impact on an entire market and people's entire livelihoods and wealth and investment says to me, like, it should never go beyond something people do as a side project. Unless even if you're an expert, it can't be a replacement of the future of finance. So like last week, actually until yesterday, I was staying in this kind of, I don't know, like a place on the beach. I was staying in this beach house, beach fronted, kind of, place for digital nomads. And while I was there, like one of the options to pay was in Bitcoin. So you can pay in crypto to stay there. And that to me also is a strange thing because it's the normalization of crypto in spaces that, traditional spaces. It's like the modernization of these things. And they're now adapting for crypto. Because one of the issues that people have had up to now, right, is that, in order to basically have a stabilized market or in order to have a kind of increase on return or increase in value on different things, whether that be gold or money itself, it has to keep exchanging hands because more exchanging equals higher value because it shows the legitimacy. So then I was like, okay, is the fact that they now accept crypto here a sign that we are moving towards a more kind of stable or established market, and it's no longer something that is kind of the reserve of super nerds or people who just love, people who are really into it, like, it's just a kind of normal practice we discussed. So that to me was potentially a sign, if that catches on in other spaces, that maybe I've been wrong up to now and crypto is kind of getting to a point where it will be a legitimate and common alternative to money at all levels.
I definitely agree with the both of you. And I do think that even though there is some skepticism there, crypto is 100% definitely solidifying itself in the future, 100%. And more people are getting into it. So people feel a bit more comfortable because, for some people, stepping into online banking was more than enough to get their feet wet. So going into cryptocurrency is like diving in head first. So it is going to take a bit of people warming up and getting into it. The only thing that concerns me is the gimmicks that seems to be really pushed in your face. Because as you said, Nushi, going up and going down, it's not something that's stable. Going into something like cryptocurrency, if you've never heard of it before and you're not too sure what it's about, the stories that they use to grab your attention isn't necessarily the best ones. Because I want a very broad perspective on it. I would like to know as much as I can from either avenue. I don't just want to keep hearing that Johnny from down the road is now sitting on 20 mil, because I want to know it's not going to be like that for everyone. And that's just me being very logical about it, right? But this idea that they keep force feeding down people's throat is really irritating, because it's like you're going to push people away who genuinely are interested in it, but are thinking, hold on, is this a scam? Getting people to part with their money is difficult as it is. You put £2 in because you wanted to see how it would go. But I also hear the more you invest is the more you get back. So it's just a difficult one. Is it something that I would like to invest in? Absolutely. Is it something that I'm interested in? Absolutely. I would just like to access knowledge that doesn't seem to be so gimmicky.
Biased.
Or biased, yes.
Yeah.
That's a better
because
word.
I think they're giving you the
just
the
a
happy
fair
stories.
perspective on it.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, no, give me your actual story, because you can't have made an investment every single time. Talk to me about when it dropped and then you made your money back. Like, talk to me about the actual journey. Don't give me the fakery. Like, it's just crazy. But Nushi, just a question for you as someone who has made a small investment. How do you get your money out of it then? Do you have to sell it, or is it like an ATM? You can just go to somewhere and withdraw the money? Like, how do you get your money out?
So I haven't actually tried to get my money out, so I'm not 100% sure. But I think it's subject to the same, it's now more regulated than it once was. And so I was talking to a friend of mine, talking to these success stories. Genuinely, yesterday he put in £500 he was inspired by Dogecoin. And there was another meme type currency based on dogs. And so he invested £500 into that yesterday. And this morning it was worth £2,000. So he did that. So I was saying to him, you need to take your money out immediately, because, this bubble's going to burst, 24 hours. Just put in a small amount again, we'll reinvest that money, the £500 initial investment. But he was saying to me, you have to now pay like a premium on actually extracting your money. So I don't know the specifics of it, but it's not as simple as it once was. So there's that thing, which is like, I think also in our minds we have this idea that it's like super easy, like you're saying, like an ATM, which I thought, but that's not the case. And then the other question is Bitcoin a commodity or is it a type of money? Like, is it something like an asset? Like, is it like your house or your gold? Yeah, your gold, as if we all have like this gold. But you know, like whatever it is that people invest in, diamonds, whatever. Should it be treated as something like that? Because this is something I've also been thinking about. Or is it actually cash? Because I guess that also impacts like the threat that governments will see in it. And I don't know if that makes like a huge difference in the way that we conceive of it. But I feel like it becomes more palatable if we see it as an asset rather than as money. And I think maybe that's because it's uncomfortable to think of money being invisible and money being unstable. And that's where the discomfort comes from. But then would more people be incentivized to invest in crypto if it was seen as just something you buy which changes in value, like a piece of art, or not? I don't know if that changes the way you guys think.
I've got two things.
Oh, go ahead, go.
I've got two things. One, it's just come out of my head. Hold on. One, no. Anissa, you go. I've forgotten my point.
Sorry, I feel like I stopped your thoughts. Really bad. But what I was going to say is it's a very interesting point that you raised, Nashi, because I don't think anybody at the moment is viewing it as a financial asset. So I don't think, like, even the government, if you think about, like, when you're taking out a mortgage or, for example, you know, you have to divorce and have settlements and things, I don't think anybody is listing their Bitcoin or their cryptocurrency in these financial records or anything that they have to do. And so I think at the moment it is viewed as almost like a piece of, at least from the government's perspective, it's viewed as a piece of art, if you will. That's something you invest in. But going forward, the government may have to step in, because I'm just saying, for example, if you were getting a mortgage and I need to know your financial history or how much money you may have, blah, 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 but all your money's in crypto, like, we'll have to start to have the transparency. If people are starting to use it more, the way that it's viewed will have to change. And I think that viewing changing will make the government get involved.
When I think about cryptocurrency, I said it's very cryptic, because the more that you try to understand it, like you said, Nushi, you've gone to seminars, you've gone to different talks and try to understand it, and there's so much terminology that you can't seem to get your head around. And I'm exactly the same. I'm like, the more that I try to study this, is the more I'm like, what? Like, I just kind of still don't really get it. And it doesn't feel comfortable to invest something like money and think that you don't really get it. It's a very, very big risk, and nobody wants to be out here getting scammed. Second of all, I was going to say, I've always heard this quote of basically, when something has hit its peak and you've heard about it, if you're joining in too late now. I feel like this rush of it, have we missed the peak? These overnight millionaires, these people investing their money and leaving it in, have we missed that peak? Because loads of people now are going to be involved in this craze. So I'm like, there's more reason for me to be skeptical of cryptocurrency than for me to be leaning more towards it. But that being said, it's still something that I'm definitely going to research into, because I am really interested in it. I don't want my fear to hold me back.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? And maybe this, but you know, like in, I don't know if it was like 19th century or 18th century, I don't know, basically not recent, a few hundred years, in Amsterdam, where they had the daffodils? And so like there was a point where people were selling bulbs with these flowers for, like, selling their houses for them, because the value of the bulbs and the flowers was like so extreme, and this continued for like years and years and years and like destroyed lives. And so in my mind, like I'm trying to think of like comparable things I can think of, and like that to me is like the perfect one, because you know, it's something that existed outside of like the normal financial system, giving something a value which like seemed almost like completely arbitrary, especially when, I guess the difference would be like with daffodils, I think it was daffodils, they're not finite. And so like with that, I suppose maybe the difference is that it's not a finite resource. So why then why is the price going up so much? Whereas Bitcoin, it is, for most of them, well, Bitcoin in particular, there's only so many Bitcoin that exist in the world, which I guess is part of the reason why we like attribute this value to it. But sorry, my actual main point I was going to say is that we can, all three of us, make our own cryptocurrency in half an hour and put it on the market. So I've been thinking about doing this as a side hustle and releasing them, because a lot because I mean that's how all of them began, right? That's literally, and then
that's true.
And so I think that would be the experiment, but that's also why a lot of people don't trust it, because it's such an easy market to access, and it depends so much on popular culture. Like as we were saying, like Dogecoin is trending on Twitter. Like that's why we've now all heard of it. That's why people are buying into it. And so it's easy to manipulate the markets in that sense by creating your own and making it go viral, getting somebody to talk about it and making lots of money. So we talk about crypto sometimes as though it's an alternative to corruption or established institutions, which some people feel have failed them. But on the other hand, it just lends itself to new forms of corruption or manipulation that we're still exploring now and discovering, because the whole industry is so new.
You see, I would be inclined to do this whole thing and make our own crypto if somebody can tell me very solidly how easy I can take the money out. That's my main thing. I don't mind about the investor and the blah, 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 but how easy can I take the money out? If I, in an instant, want to take this money out right now, I want it to be very quick. I don't want to have to be caught up in webs and tangles and things like that. So if you initially find the answer of how easy it is for us to take this money out and it's not exhaustive, then I'll make the crypto with you, girl. I really will.
So
Okay, amazing. Let's do it. Also, guys, actually, I have inspiration for our own crypto, which is I was reading this morning. So basically, this has actually been done before. So they were using, I guess they must have been using crypto, but it was this type of blockchain where people wanted to know if their vegetables were from a sustainable source. And so what the blockchain did, and again, also this is a very non-technical explanation, was from, I guess, the farm to like the actual basket, went farm to table, that's what it's called. They basically tracked the carrots, each individual carrot, cabbage, well, I mean, all the vegetables basically. So you knew that it was sustainable and where it was coming from. And then one day, so it was super popular amongst people into sustainability and making money. And so one day these people went to the website or the platform, and there was just one word like written on the website, like basically just being like, ha. And this company had been fake. They'd withdrawn all of the money from people's accounts. It no longer existed, and no one, because you don't have to reveal your identity, they just run off with everything and no one knows who they are, and people lost their entire fortune.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
what a somber note for us to end on.
You can't trust people on the internet. I've always said that.
Like I said, crypto's cryptic.
You did. That's very unfortunate, especially as they were trying to do the healthy and sustainable thing. It's horrible.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course, like, you know, it is sad. But on the other hand, like, I think it is that thing where a lot of people invest crypto when they have money to burn or money to...
Yes.
It is, you know, it's not like, I don't think people are going to be investing in sustainable Bitcoin vegetables if, like, this is that, you know, they don't have that cash. This doesn't come straight to mind.
100%. That's what I said. It depends on how much you're willing to invest. Because my friend who was reading about it, she was getting into trading and stuff. She said that her friend was into all this type of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, how much does she invest? $5,000. $5,000. That's like some rich baller type of stuff. So yeah, it seems like you have to have money in order to dibble dabble in them side hustles.
For sure.
Well, guys, I feel like after this conversation, I'm gonna check my Coinbase, see if I made any more money on my £2.50 investment. But thank you so much for watching and listening to Ethnically Speaking. What do you think? Have you invested in crypto? Do you have any inspiration for us as we together make the first Ethically Speaking cryptocurrency? And would you like some? We need all the answers to these questions. So please let us know in the comments below. If you want a recap for everything we've discussed today, please head over to unitedmelaningroup.com/ES072. As always, we'll be back on Friday So please watch out for that. And if you're watching on YouTube, do not forget to like, subscribe, and most importantly, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until then, please wash your hands, wear your mask, keep your distance, and stay safe.